Okay, so now we're back at it. Another episode in Super Nerdville times. Where do we want to begin? Always the question. I don't really have much of a preset notion this time. Maybe I'll just try to bust out one of these effects racks. Looks like I need to move quite a few over from one of my other computers. I'm on this laptop missing a few. Well, maybe we'll just go ahead and use one of my go-to starting points. The ultra generic crackles. Which can also be, just like a nice starting point. Cool. See if we can get a tone to come out of this. You add enough of the EQ8s together, obviously, as you can hear, you definitely get some kind of a tone. If you want like a long feedback type tone, obviously I think the audio filter is the best. Set to OSR. And I think let's try 99.9. 99.7 maybe? Give it some drive. Maybe the 7 maybe? Yeah, utility, that's what I'm looking for. The hotkeys on this laptop are all different from my other computers. So I'm gonna have to go in at some point and fix that. Just a little reverb. I like this setting here on the grain delay. A spray of 500 and a frequency of set really low. Go ahead and save that as our default. Cool. Definitely this drone fits with this visual. this video, we've got a nice smooth, slow moving drone going on there. I think I'll just pull in. Let's try the tension. I haven't really messed with this one that much. Could be a disaster, but we'll see. I believe this is one of those, yeah, physical modeling type of instruments. Try slow string pad. Wow, it's really bright. That's kind of interesting. I like that odd sounding though. And just shaking the mouse really intensely. It sounds weirdly like an acousmatic type of almost naturally occurring in a way. Fascinating. I'm into it. Let's go ahead and pull that in there. And I want to go ahead and unlink this one from the grid. And I'm also usually always curious what happens when I drop the pitch down. Let's just say -24. Also. Like a bell sound or someone tapping on like a metal candlestick. Definitely interesting from an experimental music standpoint. It's always cool when you're working with synthetic sources and you end up somehow getting sounds that feel like they're coming from the real world, from a natural source. Let's see, what do we got here for voices? Voices are 12. I bet if we increase this, it doesn't sound too much different. I've not really messed with tension too much, honestly, but it's sounding pretty cool to me. Very textural. I might put an on-off on this so we can get some long straight notes and variate between those and this sort of aleatoric haphazardous arpeggiation. And I'll add in some modulations. Cool, they have a slow random kind of LFO waveform. I like that. Or smooth random, I guess, is a better... This definitely sounds quality-wise in as good as like a modular setup. Very very crisp and clean sounding. I have no idea what these knobs do. I'm just sort of dragging them and hoping for the best, honestly. That's all we can really do on this planet, is just hope for the best. Cool. Let's go ahead and save it. I think for this, I might go ahead and play around with a volume shaping. And let's go ahead and put a delay effect with, let's see, what a lot of feedback sounds like on that. Pull this one off the grid. I swear one of these days I'm going to learn how to just automate that. I tend to have to do that a lot. Definitely some interesting textures coming out of there. Cool. definitely am hearing a change of pitch here. Maybe have the octaves shift around on that grain delay there. And we could also mess around with our filter here. Spooky. This drone layer has almost got that kind of old sci-fi film, like a theremin run through a bunch of spring reverb or something kind of quality. And that was probably the delay adding a lot of that effect. And let's try to do from the modular. I think I'll add the delay after that. Maybe I'll create a secondary track here. Pull the audio from it's early from modular-esque. Make that track sins only. And let's pull from there, from 3 MIDI. And I think what I'm going to do is just record a little bit into our looper. Let's do a little maintenance here. I'm going to edit this, process. Normalize. Depth converter. More shaping. Yep. And let's resample it down to down. Looks like it took. All right, cool. We'll load this back into our sampler there, looper. Cool. Now, I think we can delete everything here on down. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just leave this. Oh, let's get the, whoops, something happened there. Let's see, we don't need this utility. I'm going to go ahead and move this looper into its own. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and save all of this. Group this into tone maker. Go ahead and mute that. Save up some, free up some CPU cycles. I guess I'll move this back into here. Kind of, I think my own brain is running on very minimal CPU. All right, let's go ahead and delete this file. Browser, okay. Meet you. Bye bye. All right, now. Control-Shift-7, I think. And if you're wondering, I have Control-Shift-1 through 0 mapped to various much needed effects. Control-Shift-1 busts out EQ really quick. Control-Shift-2 is my simple delay, which obviously I need to rework that because it's set up for Ableton 9, which I've been using for the longest time. Only got into Ableton 10 really seriously in early 2020. So anyway, yeah, AutoHotkey is a really amazing app for keyboard shortcuts that you can, you know, easily call up whatever effects, whatever you want to name them, in effects racks, and highly recommend that. If you're working on a PC, of course. If you're on Mac, there's probably some other equivalent. I like that crusty 8-bit. Nice. Always a fan of the crusty 8-bit. So we've got this audio from our modular-esque running into here. I wanted to see what would happen if we added a resonator or reverb maybe. And so our let's go ahead and pull this down an octave. Call this modular-esque tonal smear. And then maybe we need to boost it. And up this. Hear a bit of this tone coming through. you can hear it sort of being affected by this modular-esque the rhythm of it a little bit, if you want to call it a rhythm. So also what we could do is drop a delay in, push it forward by 4 beats. So therefore the sound will be 4 beats delayed after it's and I bet if we added in a reverb here, some nice tails in there. Very mysterious. The beast, this vocoder effect. Takes a bit of taming. That's for sure. Maybe I could try a chord here that's a little more melodic. Let's just do 5th, 7ths, and octaves. It's almost starting to take on kind of a tropicalia, eclectica sort of. And definitely pretty hissy coming off of this with our little 8-bit 11 kilohertz sample. We could easily just roll that off. And we can play with the pitch too. Alright, let's play with some more texture here. Oh, I guess. Add a little tremolo here just to kind of break up this modular-esque sound. Nice, I kind of like this. Almost like rain sound, or yeah, I kind of like these crackles. All these. Crackle rain. Well, can't type today, but whatever. Let's also free up a little bit of CPUs here. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this process here. I did on the last sample. And if you're wondering why I'm doing this, I am kind of one of the restraints that I'm putting on myself is, as far as working with samples, I'm going to keep them pretty lo-fi, and that keeps their file size down in order so that after, you know, I've done 20, 30, 40, 50, however many of these projects, these sketches, I can keep all the ALS files inside of one folder, one zip file, and keep that file size down. So there's a lot of ways you can make really lo-fi sounds actually kind of shine, and of course it depends on, you know, how you want to EQ them, and or run, you know, you can run various effects after them. So let's listen to our lo-fi crackles. Obviously a lot more lo-fi, but we'll go ahead and turn off our main. We always have our source here that we can refer back to if we want. So with just the right kind of EQing, we can sort of pull out, I mean, it's not going to be exactly the same, but we can pull out some of that same feel. Oh, go ahead and delete that. And so now that we've got the sound in the looper, when I save, it's going to embed the sound inside of the ALS file. That's a one interesting little feature of the looper effect. Cool. Let's see, what else can we do to free up some CPU so we can keep adding some more layers. Let me go ahead and... Gotcha. I bet you this layer is adding. Vocoders do take up a bit. I mean, we're pushing 56, and it's not too bad. I could just keep working and see. This laptop has 8 cores, so Ableton splits each track up per core. So, you know, if we have 8 tracks, we should be good to go. Let's try the electric. I think this one is like a electric piano. Yep. Not super great out of the box there. bet if we automate a bunch of stuff, I do like that sort of little feedback coming off of there. Oh, I wish I could just have an attack on that. I think there's a way to do that with a gate, actually. You gotta flip it. I forget how I did this before. Maybe it was using the compressor. Well, anyway, we won't mess with adding ourselves a little attack here. That as low as you can go. It's sure in your face. A limiter on there. Kind of randomly hitting keys on the keyboard. I do know, at least in Ableton, the F and the G key on the English on your computer's keyboard are actually the key of F and the key of G, musically speaking. That's kind of pretty. The delay will help sort of also adding a little low pass can help smooth it out. Yeah, this modular stuff is intense, I tell you. I like it. I'm trying to decide how shall we make this fit with our we could obviously just make it quieter. And I definitely want to play with the pitch. Yeah, the pitch of this this looper is not really in key with our electric that we just made, so I almost want to hear it. For the time being, I think I'll delete this. Let's get it in key. Okay, so -7. Let's do -19. That's 12. -12 plus 97. And I think this, these effects we need to get in line too if we want everything to sort of be melodically playing nice together. Pretty basic. C, F, A. Maybe just one down here. I am going to pull now from the electric and see what happens. Cool. Maybe we don't need this stuff anymore. I kind of like this, almost this pulsing rhythm a little bit. Good old operator. Good old 7th chords also. I'm just going. Nice, and I think I'm going to experiment with adding this MIDI note probability gate. That way we're not getting the exact same notes coming out of this pattern. I'll just toss it up to that point. Nice, it's got a very mellow vibe to it, very sort of rhythmic ambience, which I do really adore. Obviously, most of the music I think I've made in my life has been pretty ambient stuff. I'm a pretty ambient person, I guess I could say. not super exciting human being, but you know, I guess that's the best kind of personality type for making, you know, boring personality type for boring music or something like that. I'm also curious on this modular-esque texture layer. What will happen if we drop in like a really long MIDI note length right before the instrument? That'll even change a thing. Probably not. Kinda changes up. I know one thing's for sure, we definitely need to get a little panning going on with this. I like to sometimes just duplicate a couple panners and change their settings around a little bit. See what happens. Normalize this one. And let's duplicate that tremolo and change this so we'll only get I feel like I can almost hear another rhythm coming through somehow. Nice and dreamy, I say. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna route. It's amazing what you can do with just, 12 notes here on a computer keyboard. And if you just stick with A, S, D, F, G, H, the white keys essentially. A lot that can be done. Route this to 7. Curious what will happen if we add a pitch. Well, let's say an octave up. Interesting. Yeah, like something like this could be, along the timeline, an interesting idea. We'll call this here texture. I kind of hear some more like noise textures. I'm gonna actually not duplicate that. What I'm gonna do is group this EQ and create a new chain. And I will add a vocoder here. Take it down to 4 bands. And maybe we could add a EQ8 with the modulation on the frequency of the low pass. So we get ourselves a little cheesy synthy wind noise type sound. But if we keep it quiet enough, it could be a nice little subtle, almost subliminal thing happening in the background. Still feel like this modular-esque is something that, if we were to track this whole sequence of clips out into, a song here on the timeline, I definitely want to regulate the frequency of these textures. And I mean, there's some cool sounds coming out of this layer. Really interesting, natural, almost. This almost reminds me a little bit of like the artist Deru. But it has a nice hypnotic effect occurring for me. did that come from? Just so unpredictable. Hilariously unpredictable. Has a very nostalgic feel to me. Ticking clock effect. Kind of almost like that little click, slightly subliminal. It's not super loud or obvious. I think if we turn our texture layer down a little bit. You know, it's livable for sure. You know, this noise layer could definitely use something. It's a little too straight laced for my taste. Sometimes adding the randomizer to this auto pan with the width set down to 0, you get like a grit kind of. I see. So instead of the white noise, you know, we've got a lot more of like a rusty kind of effect. I do feel like now that I'm focusing on some of these textures, this needs a tremolo. You can also hear definitely kind of reminds me of, like, you know, a rainy day in Japan, just, or somewhere far away and still and serene. I was wondering what this will sound smoothed out here. Kind of expressive. Almost like a pretty nice, I must say. I'm always surprised sometimes by the stuff that can just happen haphazardly as you're throwing stuff around. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of Asian-esque feel that comes from the bending, the smooth bending of the resonator note with sine tones run through it. A delicate kind of a lot of nice little overtones coming out of there. Such a simple combination of the resonator and sine notes. I'm actually really surprised at how interesting the timbres are coming out of all that. Yeah, that crusty wind sound is almost like a little bit like leaves, like dry, dead leaves rattling around. A little too dry in the sense of like it probably needs a little reverb, but we'll get to that. Holding down the shift, getting some fine-tuned frequency. Actually, yeah, I should play with this as well. I wonder why it didn't record. Doesn't make no sense to me. We'll just go ahead and draw in something maybe similar to what I was just... I think I want to try and... hard to form complete sentences when you're deep in thought on like what is the next step in this evolutionary process of this sketch. And honestly, I think we're just about done here. Could add a little bit of a bass in there, but I also kind of like it without the bass. Bass adds a bit of an aggression sometimes, and I kind of like this sort of floating up in the clouds a little bit, or above the trees, just with the bass that brings things down to earth for sure. Let's see. I wanted to just maybe play with a little reverb on this. Maybe we'll just try to add the reverb onto this particular crust, wind, leaves, crust layer. And I did also have a thought of adding a random velocity. And the only other thing I could think of was what I thought I wanted to do before calling it on this one. Was play with this old tape effect on here. Just kind of wanted the warp and flubber part, so I think I'm going to yank out all the other guts. I believe the warp and flubber is only associated with these two frequency shifters. Looks like it. So I'll just delete everything beyond that. And then add and remove all this unnecessary stuff. And we'll call this warp flubber. I hope I didn't just ruin or save over the old tape effect. We will find out here in a second. Okay, cool. So this adds just a little bit of kind of tape warble. I thought it would be nice to have that. And this is a bit incessant, so I think I would put a little bit of that tremolo. I'm definitely hearing a one principal frequency note come through. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in here. And if we wanted to kind of make the thing sound a bit more lo-fi, you could add just the tiniest touch of overdrive in the low end zone. If you really wanted to boost the low end on this track. Or obviously the drum bus, you know, which isn't always necessarily, doesn't have to be used for drums. Sometimes a little half and half is nice. And I like to, you know, hit the 0 key and sort of A-B what these effects are doing. like this. Something could be done with this track right here. Just throw a cabinet on there, see what happens. Almost a little too, the whole thing is a little too chirpy or something for me. Let's try it. Maybe we need to get a little volume. Volume modulation. Let's get some random volume going on this one. And just for shits and giggles, I kind of want to just hear what a -12 grain delay sounds like in there. Whole other vibe. Love pitching stuff down and up. Sometimes a whole new other landscape comes out. Definitely adds our bass, you know, supplements a bit of bass in there. And I could also hear, since we've got this rhythm occurring pretty regularly, I'd throw tremolo on that and kind of, you know, modulate the dynamic of it a little bit. Starting to sound kind of murky, lo-fi a little bit. I definitely like that a little bit, bringing in some of those high notes. Nice. Well, there's a lot of good stuff there, a lot of meat and potatoes. I don't think it would be very hard to take it from this position and just sort of have a, you know, a slow sort of fade in and fade out of various elements from our clip view over here in the timeline to produce, you know, a 5 to 7 minute piece of lo-fi luscious ambient. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Nothing else. Bust open the project files, remix it, you know. And until next time.